Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of Koopa Fantasy Football blog slash vlog, and I guess another edition of the continual growth of my sweet mustache. All right, pretty jealous. I think you guys are. All right, so I did my second fantasy draft for this season, and once again I'm going to blog about it, let you guys know why I picked the players I picked, try to justify them. Maybe it'll give you some insight going into your drafts in the future. It's a 12-team draft on fantasysports.com, a slightly adjusted roster and scoring settings. So I'll go through the roster real quick. It's one QB, one RB, three wide receivers, and a tight end, a flex spot, which can be a tight end or a wide receiver. I prefer wide receiver. Kicker, defense, special team, two defensive players. I prefer linebackers in that spot, and then a DL and a DB. If you go to my blog at koopafantasy.wordpress.com, you can look at this article. I've typed it all up and I copied and pasted the scoring. So if you want to look at the scoring while you read about this or watch this video, just go to koopafantasy.wordpress.com and find the little chart. Scoring is not really too much different. I find our league is just made to give you a bit more points in the end, a bit more exciting, I guess. So my first pick, I was pick number 4. I got Jamal Charles. A. Pete, Arian Foster, and CJ2K all went off the board with the first 3 picks. So how can I not pick Jamal Charles? I picked him second overall in my first draft. If you ever read or watched that video? And so you know, if I picked him second overall, how can I not take him fourth overall in this one? Otherwise, I would just be contradicting myself. And then it came back to me with pick 21, and I wanted to get a wide receiver, but no one was available really besides Deshaun Jackson, and I'm not big on Deshaun Jackson. If you read my articles, I'm sure you know that. So I went and drafted Peyton Manning, figured I might as well get a stud QB. Peyton Manning puts up touchdowns every single week. He's just one of the best in the league ever. So I decided I'd be happy having him. Came back to me with the third pick, pick 28. Decided I might as well start getting my wide receivers now since we need 3 in this league. So the first one I ended up getting was Mike Williams. I'd wanted Mike Wallace because he was available the round before, the pick before, but he was scooped up by the guy right before me. So I now have sophomore Mike Williams, was crazily good as a rookie, has a good young quarterback throwing to him. I'm looking for him to get lots of red zone looks again this season, lots of touchdowns. My next pick was pick number 45, and this is exactly why I don't go and grab Deshaun Jackson in round 2. To now have Jimmy Macklin from round 4, and to me, Jimmy Macklin will be the better fantasy player for Philly this year. He sees more targets per game. His yards per catch isn't as high, but that's about the only thing. He sees more targets, he's more consistent. He had more touchdowns last season. I actually think Jimmy Macklin is the better overall play at that for Philly. Pick number 5 in round 50. Pick number 52, round 5. I ended up with the tight end again. I got Dallas Clark, Witten, Finley, and Antonio Gates were all off the board, so I figured I'll grab the 4th best tight end in the draft this year, and Dallas Clark. I have him in my first team as well. The thing with Dallas Clark is he's coming off an injury, which has people worried, but his chemistry, his reputation with Peyton Manning is just so secure, so cemented. It's not really something you have to worry about. All right, pick number 69. I needed my 3rd receiver with this one, I was thinking, so I grabbed Chad Ochocinco. I was looking at guys like Manningham, Knox, Santana Moss, Austin Coley. Austin Coley I kind of wanted, but I figured I already have Peyton Manning, already have Dallas Clark. That's too much in one basket. So I went and grabbed Chad Ochocinco. I was about to grab Devon Best when someone made a comment about Chad and how they wanted him via trade. I guess they kind of thought he'd been grabbed already, but they were wrong, and all they did was remind me about his availability and let me grab him. So I have 3 starting wide receivers now in Mike Williams, Jeremy Macklin, and Chad Ochocinco, which I'm very happy with. Pick 76, I started dipping into the defensive players. We play 4 defensive players. 2 can be from any position. I prefer to have the 2 linebackers in this spot because our league also has 2 points per tackle, not 1. So if you have a linebacker, such as Patrick Willis, who I just drafted in this spot, if he gets you 10 tackles, that's 20 points. Great fantasy week. And guys like Patrick Willis can put up 10 tackles multiple weeks. So that's why I dipped a little early here to grab the top linebacker. Pick number 93, I went and grabbed a backup running back because our league only plays 1 running back, so a lot of guys who are very talented are sitting up on the draft board available still, such as Matt Forte, who has an average ADP of like 30, but it's pick 100 or it's pick 93 and he's still available. So I figure if Jamal Charles ends up being a bit of a bust, ends up hurting himself, breaking a leg or something, I now have Matt Forte I can plug in there anytime he's needed. So I was very happy with this pick here. So now I want to fill out my flex spot, and I grabbed Mike Sims Walker. He's a new addition in St. Louis. To me, he's got the body type and the skills to be their #1 target. I'm really hoping that's what he becomes. So having him as the #1 target as a flex, I'm pretty happy with that. A little bit later on in the draft, as a backup, I drafted Danny Amendola from the same team, just in case he ends up being the #1 guy there. So we'll see what happens. With pick number 117, I drafted my second linebacker, Paul Posluszny. He only played like 12 or 13 games last year, but still finished inside the top 10 for an IDP. So I figure if he plays all 16 games, he's going to be a monster. He's in a new team with a new system, a system that's actually supposed to be beneficial to him. So I'm looking forward to that. For a safety, with pick 124, I grabbed Miami's Jeremiah Bell. I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan. I don't know if you know that, but I am. So this just makes their games more enjoyable to watch to me, and he's one of the top options at this position, if you ask me. I usually go with Tyvon Branch. He's always been a stud for me at strong safety, but Jeremiah Bell is a great choice, and he's on my Dolphins, so I figured there's a bit of a favoritism here, but still a good choice. Rounding out my defense, I went and drafted Julius Peppers. I was about to grab Ndamukong Suh when the guy right before me picked him up. So I didn't hesitate and grabbed up Julius Peppers, who is just a natural-born killer on that football field, and I'm hoping to see big things. Lots of forced fumbles from him this season. With pick number 148, I went and grabbed San Fran's defense. I seem to get a lot of flack for drafting my defense as early as I do, but I prefer to have a half-decent defense. I know playing matchups works very well. I will probably end up playing matchups in certain weeks as well. When San Fran's walking into New England or Philly or something like that. But for now, San Fran, to me, is a very capable defense. They have Patrick Willis, capable of big things. So I just figure on any given week, they'll be a good play for me. And you're thinking, well, why did you grab them now when you can grab your backups around earlier? Well, I'm very, very happy with my backups, and I don't think I could have gotten that much better of a backup of a bench starting around earlier. My backup QB is Sam Bradford. He had a great campaign as a rookie. Looks only to improve as a sophomore. He has one of the most consistent RBs in the league with Steven Jackson, although Ware must be getting to him at this point in his career. But he's a great play for Peyton's bye week or a good replacement should, barring something happen to Peyton Manning. And like I said, pick number 172 is Danny Amendola. I figured I have Mike Sims-Walker already. I might grab the other guy on that team to me who could be the #1 guy. More so for the number of targets he sees, not for yards or anything. Danny Amendola was under 10 yards per catch last season, but he still sees about 120 targets last year. So that's the main reason why I picked him up there. I now have the two guys who are likely about to come out on top of that team. With pick number 189, I decided I'd go get my kicker. The reason I didn't wait till the final round to grab this kicker here was because he's attached to a top offense, and I figure I might as well go grab myself a kicker who's attached to Houston's offense, who's bound to put up a lot of touchdowns. Houston is likely going to be one of the top point-producing teams this season, so I didn't think it would hurt to have the kicker attached to that team. And then pick number 196, I grabbed Giants tight end Kevin Boss, who is no longer a Giant. He's now a Raider. He kind of traded places with Zach Miller. If you're a Raider fan, you've got to be kind of pissed off at that. Zach Miller was a great young tight end. Nothing against Kevin Boss. I just don't feel as though he has the skills Zach Miller had. He was pretty much the top wide receiver for that team as a tight end with not much help, really, with the ball getting to him. He had Jason Campbell and Gronkowski, but he still had good seasons despite the lack of help he was getting. But so I have Kevin Boss. Let's get away from Zach Miller. I have Kevin Boss. He's now on Oakland. When I made this pick, he was still a Giant. So I don't really know. I doubt I'll be using him as much as I may have if he was a Giant. But still, he's my backup tight end, just in case something happens to Kevin Boss or something happens to Dallas Clark. And with my final two picks, my second last pick, I got Nate Burleson from Detroit. I figured I might as well grab a wide receiver attached to Matt Stafford and that highly potent Detroit offense from this season. If something happens to Stafford, Nate Burleson, I'm sure will be dropped from my team like that. But if Matt Stafford can keep himself in there for a few weeks, then I believe Nate Burleson will see a boost to his numbers from last year due to the fact that he will have a top quarterback slinging that ball around and taking risks. And my last pick of the draft, I just grabbed a backup linebacker in Carlos Dansby just in case Paul Posluszny doesn't play out the way I expect in that new system. I got Carlos Dansby, who was a great play in Miami last year. He was center forward of that defense. Him and Jeremiah Bell are like the captains in a sense of that defense, and I got them both on my team. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and that is probably more so why I picked those two players. But they still, without being biased, they are good options at IDP. So the draft is over. And here's a quick rundown of my team. At quarterback, I have Peyton Manning. At running back, I have Jamal Charles. At wide receiver, I have Mike Williams, Jimmy Macklin, and Chad Ochocinco. At flex, I have Mike Sims Walker. At tight end, I have Dallas Clark. I have Houston's kicker, San Francisco defense. I have a pair of linebackers in Patrick Willis and Paul Posluszny. And a DB, Jeremiah Bell, and DL, Julius Peppers. My bench consists of Sam Bradford, Matt Forte, Danny Amendola, Nate Burleson, Kevin Boss, and Carlos Dansby. So overall, I'm happy with this team. I'm quite happy, really. I feel as though I have a quality RB and QB to go with two young wide receivers. Wide receivers keep both stellar seasons. Ocho Cinco is the mystery for my wide receivers, starting wide receivers, but I think I can get big things out of him once him and Brady start connecting. I also am pretty happy with my defense. I have two top 10 LBs, I'm pretty sure. Guys will finish in top 10 IDPs. Two excellent starters at strong safety in Bell and DE and Peppers. Dallas Clark, I'm a little bit worried about, but I'm hoping that there'll be no more injuries for him this year and that Peyton Manning will just go right back to slinging him the ball multiple times a game. My bench I'm very happy with. I have most of the key positions covered. Kevin Boss, I may have to go out and change. Nate Burleson is very much dependent upon Matt Stafford's play. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this team. I'll be on the waiver wire a lot just because that's just what kind of guy I am. Even if I don't need someone, I'll just be on the waiver wire just in case. So let me know what you think of my team. Are they terrible? Are they great? Where do I need improvement? What pick do you think I should have skipped? What pick do you think is kind of stupid? If you got time, check out the other content on my blog. It's koopafantasy.wordpress.com. I have rankings, schedules, mixed bags of sleepers, overvalued players, young guns, and dinosaurs who may help you out. Just all kinds of stuff. Check out my blog. I really appreciate any views I get. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please don't be afraid to click the like button right down below, the subscribe button right up above. It lets me know that you guys are out there watching and appreciating what I do. And that is about all for now. koopafantasy.wordpress.com is my blog. Check it out. Check out my other videos over, I guess, that side or this side over here. And that is all for today, guys. Thanks for viewing me and my sweet mustache, my sweet house coat, and I will see you guys later. Peace.